Hello everyone, how are you? A new topic is meetings of board of directors. That means board meetings, right? Section 173 to section 175 deals with the concept of board meetings. Board meeting means the meetings of directors. There are two ways in which the decisions of the companies are taken up. Okay, one is the general meeting decisions and second is the board meeting decisions. In the general meeting decisions, usually you must have noticed that, and we had covered this topic in the general meeting chapter also. In the general meeting, there are basically two ways of taking decision. One is by passing ordinary resolution. One is by passing ordinary resolution. That means simple majority. Okay, that means simple majority. And the other way is by passing special resolution. The other way is by passing special resolution. By passing special resolution. I'm talking about GM. That means the meeting of members. That means 3 times majority. The votes in favor must be 3 times of votes cast against. In the case of special resolution, 3 times majority. Okay. And GM means the meeting of members. Meeting of members. But in the case of board meeting, meeting of directors. Okay, the decisions are taken by in two ways. That is PR and unanimous PR. PR and unanimous PR. Okay, PR means simple majority. Simple majority. Okay, and unanimous PR means 100% majority. In the case of BR, simple majority is required, and in the case of unanimous board resolution, all the directors need to be in favor of the resolution. Okay. One important thing I would like to clarify: what is the difference between GM and BM? Okay. One is the meeting of the members, and BM is the meeting of the directors. And there are two types of basic resolution in the case of GM, that is ordinary resolution and the special resolution. Right? Ordinary resolution needs simple majority and special resolution needs 3 times majority. That means votes in favor must be 3 times of votes cast against. And in the case of board meeting, there may be two types of resolution. One is board resolution, that is simple majority, and in the case of unanimous board resolution, this is 100% majority. And the main important difference is also that the way of voting. Here, voting may be done by way of show of hands, okay, or by poll. And the voting may also be done by electronic way. Electronic voting there may be under section 108 and by postal ballot under section 110. But basic two things in the BM, in the board meeting, when the voting takes place, there are basically two ways of casting the votes. That is by show of hand, and the other one is by poll. In the case of voting by show of hand, there is one member, one vote. One member, one vote, right? But in the case of voting by poll, there is one chair, one vote. One chair, one vote, right? In the case of voting by poll, the votes are counted according to the proportion of shares held, posted shareholding of the member. Right? It means one share, one vote. We can simply say that. In the case of general meeting. But in the case of board meeting, there is one director, one vote. In the case of board meeting, there is always one director, one vote. In case of PM, there is always one director, one vote. One director, one vote. Okay. And one more important difference is that member may appoint proxy to cast his votes in the meeting or the resolution. Okay. But director cannot appoint proxy. This is very important difference. Director cannot appoint proxy, because as per section 166, director can never assign his duties, and it is the duty of the director to attend the board meeting, and if he does not attend the board meeting for a consecutive period of 12 months, he will have to vacate his office under section 167 also. Will have to vacate his office under section 167. And as per 166, director cannot assign his duties, and it is the duty of the director to attend the board meeting, and this duty cannot be assigned. He cannot appoint someone else to attend the meeting and to cast vote on his behalf, right? So director cannot appoint proxy, but a member can appoint proxy to cast his votes in GM. And place of meeting. Okay. There are two types of meeting. One is section 96 and one is section 100. 96 deal with the AGM, 100 deal with the EGM. Okay. Section 96 deals with the AGM and section 100 deals with the EGM. AGM can be held in the case of listed company only at the registered office of the company. In the case of listed company, only at the registered office of the company as per section 96. And in the case of other companies, unlisted public companies, in the case of unlisted companies, if all the members give their consent in writing or by way of electronic means, then such AGM can be held anywhere in India. Okay. In the case of listed companies, AGM can be held only at the registered office of the company or in the same city, town, village where the registered office of the company is situated. But in the case of other companies, the same facts shall apply, should be held at the registered office of the company or in the same city, town, village where the registered office of the company is situated as per section 96. But in the case of other than listed companies, that means other companies, if 100% members give their consent in writing or by way of electronic means to the company that the meeting may be convened anywhere in India, then meeting can be AGM, that means can be convened anywhere in country. Okay, but in case of EGM, it can be convened anywhere in India. But a company which is a subsidiary company of the foreign company, which is wholly owned subsidiary of the foreign company, its EGM can be held anywhere in the world. Okay, but in the case of PM, it is very simple, can be held anywhere in the world, There's no issue. Can be held anywhere there is no problem. Right. So the basic differences which are here, in the case of GM, the ordinary resolution and special resolution usually are passed. But in the case of board meeting, there are basically two types of resolution as per the requirement of the particular section. Okay, board resolution or unanimous board resolution. In the case of board resolution, simple majority of directors is required. In the case of unanimous board resolution, all the directors need to be in favor. Okay, and by way of, what is the way of voting? In the case of general meeting, the voting is taking place by way of show of hand, one member shall have one vote. In the case of, if the voting is taking place by poll under section 109, okay, then as per section 47, one share will have one vote. That means according to the number of shares held. But in the case of board meeting, there is always one director, one vote. Next is the members may appoint proxy who will attend the meeting on the behalf of the member and shall cast the vote on his behalf. Okay, but he can't speak in the meeting, as we discussed in the chapter of general meeting. Or in the case of board meeting, director himself has to attend the meeting, he cannot appoint anyone else. Okay, because under section 166, he can never assign his duties. Okay, and further, if he does not attend the meeting for the continuous period of 12 months for a full year, then he will have to vacate his office under section 167. Okay. This is place of meeting. In the case of AGM, it should be held at the registered office of the company or any other place in the same city, town, village where the registered office of the company is situated. Okay. And in the case of EGM, it can be held anywhere in the country. And AGM, I had told you that in the case of companies other than listed companies, if all the members give their consent in writing or in by way of electronic mean, then such AGM can be held anywhere in the country. That means India. Okay, but board meeting can be held anywhere in the world. There's no issue, right? Let us start the topic. Our first section is section 173. And before going into the topic 173, as I told you earlier, the section 173 to 175 deals with the concept of board meeting. And there are specific rules about it. That is companies meetings of board and its powers. Meetings of board and its power. Okay. And these rules do not only deal with the board meetings. These rules also deal with some more concept we will study after this chapter. Okay. And the SS1 also deal with the board meeting. There are only three sectoral standards issued by ICSI. One is SS1 that deals with the BM, what we are going to do right now, and SS2 that is GM, which we already have discussed. Okay, SS2 that relates to general meeting, and SS3 that is dividend, which has already been discussed in part A. Okay. Now it is section 173 that is meetings of board. Meetings of board. It deals with the concept of frequency of board meeting. Frequency of board meeting. First of all, first board meeting must be convened. First board meeting must be convened within 30 days of incorporation of company. Within 30 days of incorporation of company. And there must be at least 4 board meetings in a year. There must be at least 4 board meetings in a calendar year. And the gap between 2 meetings can never exceed 120 days. The gap between 2 meetings can never exceed 120 days. What I'm saying? I'm simply saying that first PM to be held within 30 days of incorporation. It is about first PM, right? And then next topic is at least 4 board meetings in a calendar year. Company has to convene at least 4 meetings in a calendar year. And the next one is maximum gap between 2 BM equal to 120 days. Okay. And in the case of one person company, small companies, okay, the gap must be at least there must be at least 2 board meetings. Okay, there must be at least 2 board meetings. That is studied. Frequency of BM. Every company shall hold the first meeting of the board of directors within 30 days of the date of its incorporation. Within 30 days of its incorporation, and then thereafter hold a minimum number of 4 meetings of its board of directors every year, in such manner that not more than 120 days shall intervene between 2 consecutive meetings of the board. Okay, first of all, first board meeting has to be held within 30 days of its incorporation, and thereafter there must be at least 4 BM in a year, and the gap between 2 board meetings must not exceed 120 days. Next is the provided that central government may by notification direct that the provisions of this subsection shall not apply in relation to any class or description of companies or shall apply subject to such exceptions, modifications or conditions as may be specified in the notification. And central government has been specifically given the power to exempt any class of companies from any of these provisions. Next is very important point. Participation through video conferencing or other audio visual means. Directors may also attend the board meeting by way of audiovisual means or video conferencing. Okay. Now it is modern India. This is a digital India. Okay. Everybody is using mobile. Everybody is using the laptops, computer, internet. So video conferencing is the best way to attend the meeting if the directors are not available near the place of board meeting. Okay. So directors have been given the liberty to attend the board meeting by way of video conferencing or by way of audio visual mean. Okay. This mean is usually used. Okay. It's normally used. It is not new. It is now, it has become an old concept. Okay. So the directors have been given the liberty to attend the board meeting by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means. But central government has been given the power to specify certain important agendas which cannot be discussed by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means. Certain particular matters which cannot be discussed by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means. But in that case also there has been an amendment by the government. That amendment is that there are certain specific matters which can be only discussed in the board meeting, not by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means. But in that case also, government has allowed the liberty to attend the meeting by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means if in that board meeting the quorum is available. The quorum is available. Quorum will be discussed under the next section, that is 174. Quorum is one third of total strength of director or two, whichever is as. First of all, try to understand what I'm saying. I'm just saying that directors can attend the board meeting by way of video conferencing mode or audiovisual means. Okay, but government has been given the power, that MCA, by making rules, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, by making rules, by framing rules, in specify certain matters which can only be discussed in the board meeting. But there is also a catch. Now the government says that if the matter is specifically provided to be discussed in the board meeting, even in that meeting, if the quorum is available, if in that meeting quorum is available, then if any other director or directors want to attend that meeting by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means, there is no issue. There is no issue. Earlier there was the point that the certain matters cannot be discussed by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means. Then government came up with certain revision, certain amendment. That amendment has been covered in the blue color. That amendment was that although certain matters have been prescribed to be attended only by the board meeting, it cannot be discussed by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means. But the quorum is available in the board meeting. If the quorum is available in the board meeting, quorum is present in the board meeting, then other directors who want to attend by way of video conferencing mode, audiovisual means, they can attend the meeting by such mode. Usually, basically the thing is that if any director attend the meeting by way of video conferencing, he is also counted in the quorum. If any director is attending the meeting by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means, he is also counted in the quorum. Quorum means minimum number of directors to be present in the meeting. Okay. If any director is attending the meeting by way of video conferencing mode, audiovisual mean is counted in the quorum. Okay. But there are certain matters which can be prescribed by the government to be specifically discussed in the board meeting. But that matter also can be discussed by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means if and only if the board meeting is held and the quorum is present in that board meeting. I think you have got my point. Let us read this. What does it say? It says that participation of directors in a meeting of the board may be either in person or through video conferencing, maybe by in person or through video conferencing or other audiovisual means as may be prescribed, which are capable of recording and recognizing the participation of direction and of recording and storing the proceedings of such meetings along with the date and time. This is a basic point. Okay. When the company is allowing the director to attend the meeting by way of video conferencing or audiovisual mean, obviously there must be such facility which in which the director who is attending by in this mode, he can be recognized, voice can be heard, his face can be seen, he can be easily recognized. Okay. And the company has the facility of storing such video conferencing or audiovisual mean. Okay. Provided that central government may by notification specify such matter. This is a very important point. We shall not be dealt with in the meeting through video conferencing or audiovisual mean. But there is a catch also. What I told you that provided first does that where there is a quorum in a meeting, although The matters may be specified by the government that it cannot be discussed in the by way of video conferencing or audiovisual mean. Even then, where there is quorum in the meeting through physical presence of the directors, any other director, quorum is present, any other director or directors may participate through video conferencing or other audio visual means in such meeting on any matter specified under the first proviso. This is the first proviso. Okay. Although MCA may have specified that certain matters that to be discussed in a board meeting, but in that board meeting, if the quorum is available, then the other director or directors may attend such meeting, can discuss in such meeting by way of audio visual mean or video conferencing mean. I think you have got my point. Okay. Next is notice of board meeting. I told you in the chapter when we were discussing general meeting chapter that basically three types of notices. One is covered under section 101. Now you will be wondering why I'm covering now the general meeting chapter, because basically I have been a student. Obviously, I cleared my CA, CS, CMA exam, so I try to cover up all those topics, all those provisions where I used to basically get confused. Sometimes it gets confusing. It gets confusing that we forget what is the quorum in the case of board meeting and what is the quorum in the case of general meeting, and what is the time of notice in the case of GM and what is the time of notice in the case of BM. So I try to differentiate, I try to compare both the things, all the things basically, wherever there may be confusion. Because you are watching my videos, had you been in the face-to-face classes, obviously that it makes a certain difference. Okay, but if there is actually prices are too high in the case of face-to-face classes, and in most of the towns of the country, PS coaching is not organized. So let us compare me this point. What I'm saying, basically three types of notices which I already explained you in the chapter GM. That is notice under section 101, notice under section 115, and the notice under section 173 which we are discussing. Okay, section 101 deals with the notice of GM. Notice of GM which the company gives to all members. Company gives to members. This GM notice, notice of GM. It is 21 clear days notice. 21 clear days notice means the day of notice is not considered, day of meeting is not considered, and if the notice is sent by post or by courier, etc., then 48 hours, that means 2 days, are not considered, not counted. And the next one was section 115. It deals with the special notice. Okay, this deals with the special notice, and such special notice is given by the member to the company. Okay, by the member to the company. And this section says that if the member want to give the notice to the company, it must be at least 14 days notice. It must be given at least 14 days before the meeting, maximum 3 months before the meeting. And that member or members who individually or collectively holds rupees 5 lakh shares or more, or 1% of voting rate, can send the notice to the company. When such notice is given to the company further send individual notices to all the members at least 7 days before the meeting. Okay, this was special notice, and special notice need to be given in only those cases in which there is a requirement under the Act, Compulsory 2013 Act itself, or under the articles, right? And section 173, it deals with the PM notice. Okay, board meeting notice. We just discussed the frequency of board meeting. That is, first meeting to be held within 30 days of incorporation, and there must be at least 4 BM in the full year. Okay, the gap can be maximum for 120 days in between 2 meetings, and the BM notice is for 7 days. Okay, the BM notice is for 7 days. There must be at least gap of 7 days in the case of board meeting. The meeting of the board shall be called by giving not less than 7 days notice, writing to every director at his address registered with the company. Okay, it may be given by hand, it may be sent by post at the address given by the director to the company. Okay. And such notice shall be sent by hand delivery. So by post or by electronic means. It may also be sent by way of electronic means also. And shorter notice. This is very important point. Because there was a very complicated situation in the case of GM when the shorter notice was possible. In the case of AGM, there was different point. In the case of AGM, 95% of the members' consent was required. 95% of the members' consent was required in the case of AGM, where shorter notice was required to be given. Okay. And then in the case of EGM, there were different concepts. In the case of company having share capital, majority in numbers and 95% in value. Okay, majority in numbers and 95% in value. And in the case of company not having share capital, 95% voting power. Okay, carrying voting power. Their approval was required to send shorter notice. Because if the notice is sent at shorter interval, that means less than 7 days, that notice is not valid. This notice is void. But in certain cases, it can be sent. That cases, a meeting of board may be called at shorter notice. So notice means the notice for less than 7 days to transact urgent business, subject to the condition that at least one independent director, if any, shall be present at the meeting. So at least one independent director. The question is that why the board is convening the meeting at the such a short span of time? What is the urgency? If there is an urgency, then there must be an independent person in that case. That is independent director. Okay. Provided further that in the case of absence of independent directors, it may be the case in the case of private company. Such private company may not be having the independent directors because that is not required to appoint as per section 149. And in the case of unlisted public companies, which do not fall under the criteria of appointment of independent director, they may not have also independent director. Okay. So in that cases, the presence of independent director is not required. The majority of the directors, okay, are required to be present there. Provided further that in the case of absence of independent director from such a meeting of the board, decisions taken at such a meeting shall be circulated all the directors and shall be final only on the ratification of thereof by at least one independent director, if there is. So one way is that at least one independent director of the company is available in the meeting, present in the meeting. Okay. Otherwise, such decisions which have been taken in the meeting must be circulated to all the directors and must be ratified, that means confirmed, by at least one independent director if there is any. Then is that the next point is covered as per SS1, Secretarial Standard 1. Actually, Secretarial standards are issued on that topics where there is a silence in the law, the unclarity, ambiguity in the provisions of law. To make that provisions clear, assess to certain points, certain provisions. Okay, but secretarial standards can never supplant, can never replace the provisions of law. If there is conflict between the provisions of secretarial standards and company law, the provisions of company law shall prevail. Let us suppose if the secretarial standards give certain clarity about the topic and later on the law is changed. The law is changed. Okay, which is different from secretarial standards. Then law shall prevail, not the secretarial standard. That means if there is any inconsistency between the secretarial standards and the law shall prevail over the secretarial standards. The purpose of issuing secretarial standard is to assist, supplement, complement the law, not to supplant or replace the law. Okay. As per Secretarial Standard 1, in case the company does not have an independent director, the decision shall be final only on ratification thereof by the majority of directors of the company. Very important point. If there is no independent director, then such resolution must be approved by the majority of the directors. Okay. So in the case where the company is having independent director, In the case where the company is having independent director, then shorter notice will do. Okay. But let me write. Company has independent director or company not having independent director. Okay. The first case, at least one independent director must be present such board meeting or such the draft resolution must be circulated all directors and be ratified by at least one independent director, if any, if the company has. Okay. If any. Okay. But in the case if the company is not having any independent director, okay, then approval of majority of the directors is required. Approval of majority of directors. Right? You may write it down. We have studied already. But if you want to write something, you may write. I'm taking a break for 30 seconds. You may write it. So the next point is penalty. Next point deals with the penalty. Every officer of the company whose duty is to give notice under this section and who fails to do so shall be liable to penalty of rupees 25,000 rupees. 25,000. Okay. And board meeting in case of OPC and small company and dormant company is an important point. In the case of board meeting of OPC, one-person company, small company, dormant company. One-person company means having only one person as a member. Okay. Small company, paid up capital up to rupees 50 lakh and turnover up to rupees 2 crore or any higher amount which may be prescribed. And dormant company, not having a business, not having any significant accounting transaction for the last 2 years. Okay. Well, OPC, small company and dormant company shall be deemed to have complied with the provisions of this section. At least one meeting of the board of directors has been conducted in each half of a calendar year. That means 1st Jan to 30th June, then 1st July to 30th December, is 31st December. And gap between two meetings is not less than 90 days. Actually, in normal case, gap cannot exceed 120 days, but in this case, gap must be at least 90 days. In the normal case, gap must not exceed. The maximum gap is 120 days, but in the case of OPC, small companies, okay, and dormant company, the minimum gap is 90 days. And 2 meetings are required in the case of OPC, small company and dormant company. Non-applicability of section 2 to OPC. In the case of one-person company, If there is only one director, then how could BM be held? It is impossible to hold the BM in case there is only one director in the case of one person company. Okay, one person is company is required to just appoint one director as per section 149. But it may appoint more directors, it is up to it. If it has more than two or more than two directors, the normal provision shall apply to it. So the summary is at least 4 BM in a year and 1 BM in each calendar year. First BM to be held within 30 days of incorporation. Okay. And maximum gap between 2 BM 120 days. But in the case of OPC, dormant and small company, minimum gap must be 90 days. And it is enough. It convenes 2 meetings in a year. That means 1 meeting in each half of calendar year. And notice of the meeting at least 7 days before the meeting. And we discussed the concept of shorter notice. It is also the meeting at short notice is also valid if at least one independent director is available in the meeting, present in the meeting, or the draft resolution have been circulated to all the directors and it has been ratified by at least one independent director. If the company is not having any independent director, so it must be ratified by, must be confirmed by majority of the directors. I think you have got my point very easily. Next is notice of adjourned meeting. The topic is that the concept is that whether the notice for even adjourned meeting to be given, there is no need to send the notice of adjourned meeting because the adjourned meeting is the continuation of the original meeting. The adjourned meeting is the continuation of the original meeting. The articles require that the company need to give the notice of adjourned meeting. It may be given. Okay. If for the adjourned meeting, the day, the time, and the place is not decided yet, so obviously the meeting of adjourned meeting, notice of adjourned meeting to be given. When the meeting is adjourned, whether it is GM or BM, it is adjourned in the next week, same day, same place, same time. Okay. But what I am saying, well, there is a change in the time, place, day, etc. Then the notice of even adjourned meeting to be given to all directors. Right. Let us study it. Discuss briefly the requirement of issuing notice for the adjourned meeting of the board of directors. It says that an adjourned meeting is merely the continuance of original meeting and a fresh notice of the meeting is not therefore necessary unless the articles require such a notice to be given. The basic thing is clear. Basic thing is that the adjourned meeting is the continuation of the original meeting. Okay. So there is no need to send the notices again for adjourned meeting. But if the article says that it need to be given, that the company obviously has to give. Okay. Then where the notice of the meeting had been properly given, there was no necessity for notice of its bona fide adjournment. It is purely to be regulated by the provisions of articles. If article says that this is to be given, obviously company has to give that. However, the board of directors who could not attend the original board meeting should be given notice of adjourned meeting. The board of directors who could not attend the original board meeting. Point is important. The 5 directors, the quorum is 1/3, that is 2, or 2, whichever is higher, that is 2. Okay. Let us suppose out of 5, 3 directors attended the meeting, but 2 did not attend. Now the meeting gets adjourned if. Okay. Then 2 directors who had not attended the meeting earlier, they must be given the notice of adjourned meeting. So it may be the possible that now they can attend the meeting. Okay. For any reason, and there may be any unavoidable reason due to that the 2 directors could not attend the meeting. Now there may be the possibility that they can now attend the meeting. So the directors who did not attend the meeting, they must be given the notice of adjournment of meeting. Okay, this is very important. When the meeting is adjourned sine die. Sine die means for uncertain period. For uncertain period. Uncertain period. Let us suppose there was a board meeting of the company going on, and in between that meeting, one director died of heart attack. Okay, so the meeting was adjourned sine die. In that case, the notice for the adjourned meeting need to be right. Next is you may study the question yourself. It actually talks about the place of the BM As I told you initially, the board meeting can be held anywhere in the world. Can be held anywhere in the world. And there is one more topic. Due to the urgency of matters to be transacted, due to the urgency of the matters to be transacted, the board of directors for Ragini Limited has decided to hold its meeting at a shorter notice. As we discussed, a meeting at the shorter notice can be convened, but there must be at least one independent director present in the meeting. Okay, otherwise it may be the decision taken in that meeting must be circulated to all the directors and it must be ratified by at least one independent director, if any. As there is no independent director, all the decisions taken in such meeting, which is held at shorter notice, must be approved by majority of directors. The board of directors of Ragini Limited has decided to hold its meeting at a shorter notice. Certain directors of the company objected to the board's above decision on the ground that it is violative of the provisions of Companies Act 2013. Examine the validity of board decisions. It says that as per section 173, in case of shorter notice, at least one independent director should be present at the meeting. And if he is not present, then decisions of the meeting shall be circulated. All directors. If he is not present, then decision of such meeting shall be circulated to all directors, shall not be final until at least one independent director ratifies it. Ratify means confirm. Until at least one independent director ratifies it. And then, as per section SS1, if the company does not have any independent director, the decision shall be final only and only on ratification thereof by majority of the directors of the company. Now, you may see yourself. This is a very important point. Okay, with the section of 173 missed that if there is no independent director in the company, then how the meeting can be convened at shorter notice. So such point was clarified by Secretarial Standard 1. If there is no independent director in the company, then the decision can be ratified by the majority of the directors, unless such decisions were approved at the meeting itself by majority of directors of the company. So there is no violation if the above mentioned provisions are complied with. Next is 174, quorum for the meeting. This is very important topic also. In the case of GM, what we discussed, and in the beginning we were differentiating between the concept of GM and PM. So in the case of GM says that in the case of private company, the quorum required is 2. Quorum means simply minimum number of persons required to be present in the meeting. In case of GM, at least 2 members personally be present in the meeting. In the case of GM, depends entirely upon the number of persons. Okay, number of members depends upon the number of members. If there are up to problem, in the case of up to some technical glitches, up to 1000 members. Okay, the quorum required is 5, and in the case of members are including 1001 to 5000, quorum required is 15. In the case of members are more than 5000, the quorum required is 30. Okay, articles may provide for the higher quorum. Okay, but in the case of BM, the quorum is 1/3 or 2, whichever is higher. In the case of board meeting, quorum is 1/3 or 2, whichever is higher. Here also article may provide for the higher quorum. And the most important thing is that if in the board meeting, any director is interested in the agenda being discussed, is not counted in the quorum. Actually, section 184 deals with the interest of a director. 184 deals with the interest of a director, particular agenda. Okay. When any director is interested in the agenda being discussed in the meeting, he cannot be counted in the quorum. He cannot even participate in the discussion. He will not be counted in the quorum. He may attend the meeting, but he will not be counted in the quorum. He cannot participate in the discussion even. Okay. The main thing is that if there is board meeting, the quorum is 1/3 or 2, whichever is higher, is clear. And if the number of interested directors in such BM are two-third or more. Total strength of directors, two-third. Okay. What I am saying, I repeat this. I'm just saying that if number of interested directors in a board meeting are two-third or more of the total strength of directors, then even two disinterested directors may constitute the quorum. Two disinterested directors may constitute the quorum. Okay, it's very simply means that, let us suppose if there are 9 directors, okay, out of that 9 directors, 2 directors are interested. First of all, you have to calculate 2/3 of total strength. 9 into 2/3, it is 6. So first check that whether interested directors are 2/3 or more. In our case, no, obviously no. 2 is less than 6. So 2/3 directors are not interested in the agenda. Okay. Then normal provisions of quorum shall be applicable. That is 1/3 or 2, whichever is higher. 9 to 1/3, 3 or 2, whichever is higher. So required quorum is 3. Let us suppose there are 9 directors, and out of that, 6 directors are interested. So the total strength of 9 directors and 2/3 is 6. It means 2/3 directors are interested. In this case, even the 2 disinterested directors shall constitute a valid quorum. That means out of 9 directors, 6 cannot participate in the meeting. They will not be counted in the quorum. So out of 9, 6 are not to be counted in the quorum. The remaining directors that are disinterested are just 3 directors. 3 directors of the company are disinterested directors. Out of these 3 disinterested directors, even if 2 directors attend the meeting, they shall constitute the valid quorum. This is the point. Okay. Basically and normally, the quorum is 1/3 of total strength or 2, whichever is higher. But if 2/3 or more directors are interested in the agenda, then the quorum required is at least 2 disinterested directors. Clear? Okay. Let us study this. Quorum is 1/3 of total strength, of directors, okay, or 2, whichever is higher. And one point to be noted that any fraction rounded off to 1. There are 7 directors and 1/3 are 2.33, I think. Okay, shall be rounded off to next one, the 3. Quorum in case of section 8 company. In the case of section 8 company, quorum is 8 directors or 25% of its total strength, whichever is less. Let us suppose there are only 3 directors, then 8 or 25%, whichever is less. Okay, obviously it is less than 1. So in this case, the quorum shall not be less than 2 members. In the case of section 8 company, let us suppose in the case of section 8 company, there are total 12 directors. So 8 or 25% of total strength, that is 3. Whichever is higher, it is less, sorry. So 3 directors shall constitute a valid quorum. Let us suppose the directors are 4, then 25% 1, 8 directors, whichever is less 1. But quorum is minimum 2. Okay. How a single person can hold the board meeting? Common sense. What is the meaning of total strength? Total strength means a total strength of board after deducting the directors whose offices are vacated. This is common sense, it is. Okay, the persons who have vacated their offices were not now the part of the company. How could they be considered in the total strength? Okay. Interested directors are counted in total strength but not in the quorum, as I explained in the example. I did not deduct the interested directors from the total strength. I just said that the director who is interested will not be counted in the quorum. I did not say that he will not be counted in the total strength. I just said that such director who is interested shall not be counted in the quorum. Okay. Directors attending through video conferencing, he shall be counted in the quorum. Director attending through video conferencing or audiovisual mean shall be counted in the quorum, as I initially told you. But one point was there. Government may prescribe certain matters to be discussed only in the board meeting. In that case, the quorum must be physically present. The quorum must be physically present, not through video conferencing or audiovisual mean. Okay, the quorum must be physically present. And if the quorum is physically present, then the other director may attend the meeting by way of video conferencing or audiovisual means. Okay. Directors attending through video conferencing. Participation of directors through video conferencing or other audiovisual mode shall be counted for the quorum. Next point is very important, as I explained you, where two-thirds or more of the total strength of directors are interested. In that case, even the 2 disinterested directors shall constitute the valid quorum. Okay. If number of interested directors are 2/3 or more of the total strength of board, then remaining minimum 2 disinterested directors shall constitute the quorum. I think point is clear. Next is number of directors below quorum. It may be the case that articles may provide for the higher quorum. Okay, in that case, it may be the case that the number of directors have gone below that limit prescribed in the articles. In that case, if all the directors of the company are present in the meeting, it shall constitute the valid quorum. Okay, it may be the case that the articles may provide for the higher quorum, but it may also be the case that the number of directors have gone below the quorum prescribed in the articles. In this case, how could the higher persons can attend the meeting if the total number is less than the quorum prescribed in the articles? Obviously, in this case, if all the directors attend the meeting, they shall constitute the valid quorum. Okay. Due to resignation or removal of directors, the number of directors are reduced below the quorum as fixed by the articles of the company. But what the quorum has been prescribed in this act, that is 1/3 or total strength or 2, whichever is higher. That quorum cannot be below that. Okay. But if the articles has prescribed for the higher quorum above the limit which is prescribed under the law, that is 1/3 or 2, whichever is higher. Okay. In that case, number of directors gone below that limit prescribed in the articles. Okay. But the directors, all the directors are present and that is in the limit prescribed in the act. Okay. Such person shall constitute the valid quorum. Then continuing directors may act for the purpose of increasing the number of directors to that required for the quorum or for summoning a GM of the company. It shall not act for any other purpose. Okay. This is also the very important point. If the number of directors have gone below the limit, it is required to be as per the articles to constitute a quorum. In this case, the directors who are present in the meeting, all the directors who are present in the meeting shall constitute the valid quorum just for the 2 purposes. One is for summoning a GM. Okay. and required for the quorum. Only two purposes. First, such persons shall constitute the valid quorum. First, and for summoning a GM of the company. Okay. First thing is that purpose of increasing the number of directors. That required for quorum. Directors want to increase the number of directors to constitute a valid quorum. For that purpose, all the directors will be constituting a valid quorum. And for the next purpose is called summoning a GM. Only for these two purposes, even the directors have gone below the limit of prescribed as per the articles to constitute a quorum. Even then, the directors which are below that limit shall constitute a valid quorum only for two purposes. One is for increasing the number of directors. Second is for summoning a GM. Right. Now there are some example. First is total strength of directors 10, quorum fixed by Article 5. That is 10 is 10 into 1/3. That is 3.33. That is 4 or 2, whichever is higher, 4. But article says 5, so the articles have to be followed. Okay. So the quorum is 5. Next is suppose 6 directors have resigned in the above cases. The persons who are not already the part of the company, they will not be considered in the total strength of the directors. So total strength is 10. Total strength is 10, and the 6 directors have resigned. So total directors left are 4. But article provides for the 5 directors to be present in the meeting. So if total strength is 4, how could 5 directors sit in the meeting? Common thing, the host will not be attending the meeting. Okay. So the required is the quorum is 4. Okay. In the two following cases, and such quorum is valid only for two purposes. First is BM held for increasing number of directors to the required quorum. Next is to summoning the general meeting. Next is it is very also important point. Quorum to be present throughout the meeting. Such quorum must be present throughout the meeting. Similar concept is applicable in the case of GM. In the case of general meeting also, in the meeting of members also, the quorum must be present throughout the meeting. The quorum must be present throughout the meeting. And in the case of BM also, quorum must be present throughout the meeting. Let us suppose the quorum was present in the beginning of the meeting. They discussed and approved 2 matters, and that 2 matters are valid. But thereafter, the quorum was not present, and whatever matters are discussed and approved thereafter, when the quorum is not present, that entire discussion and approval is void. Okay. So this is an example that I've already explained. This is total strength. I will explain 2 to 3 topics, and you have to read yourself remaining. Total strength is given first. Total strength. Next is quorum. Next is present. Interested. Okay, then we will calculate eligible quorum. Okay, let us study. First is total strength is 9, and present in the meeting interested are 2. So first of all, of 9 we have to calculate 2/3 or more. 2/3 is 6. So interested directors are less than 6. So normal basic provision shall apply. That is 1/3 of total strength or 2, whichever is higher. So 9's 1/3, 3 or 2, whichever is higher, 3. So quorum required is 3, and present directors are 6. Not to be counted in the quorum 2. Remaining directors 4. So required was 3, and available is present is 4. So the quorum is valid. In the next case, interested directors are 6. That is 2/3 or more of the 9 directors. So in this case, if the 2 disinterested directors are present in the meeting, the provision shall be complied with. So total directors available are 9. So this is the quorum. 2 disinterested directors. Present are 9. Out of that, 6 are interested. So 3 directors are disinterested. Means required quorum is 2 and directors available are 3. So it is a valid quorum, right? In the next case, the interested persons are 5. It is less than 2/3. So normal case will apply. 1/3 of 9, that is 3, or 2, whichever is higher, 3. So quorum is 3. Okay. Available directors in the meeting are 8, and interested are 5. Remaining are 3, and the required was 3. So quorum is valid. The next case is total 9 directors, and director interested are 5. Okay, so interested directors are 5, that is less than 2/3. So normal provision shall apply, 1/3 or 2 which is higher, 3. So the interest 3 must be present in the meeting who are disinterested. But out of 7 present in the meeting, 5 are interested. So disinterested are only 2, but required were 3. So this is invalid quorum. Okay, in this way you have to study remaining 4 points also. And this is one more example. Total strength 15. It includes 2 directors who vacated their offices. I told you that the directors who have vacated their offices will not be counted in the total strength even. Okay, out of 15, 2 not to be counted in the total strength. The total strength is 13. And total 12 directors attended the meeting, and but 3 attended through video conferencing. As I told you, attending through video conferencing or audio visual means also to be counted in the quorum. Okay, so 12 directors attended the meeting, 3 through video conferencing they will be counted. Out of 12, 2 directors were interested. So directors who are interested not to be counted in the quorum. So out of 12, 3 will be considered, obviously 12, and 2 not to be considered. Out of 12, 2 has to be deducted. Remaining is 10. So quorum is valid. Quorum required was total strength is 13 of 1/3 or 2, whichever is higher. Quorum required is 5 and the presents are 10. The quorum is valid. In the above example, suppose 4 directors left in the middle of the meeting. So quorum required is 5. Certain directors, that is 4 directors, present were 10 out of 4. Out of that 10, 4 have left. The remaining are 6, but the quorum is required 5. So remaining directors present in the meeting are already more than 5. No violation. Okay, there is no violation. The next above example, suppose 7 directors left in the middle of the meeting. So total present were 10. Total present were 10. Okay, out of that 7 left, and remaining are 3. But required was 5. The required quorum was 5. So there is violation. Okay, remaining decision which have been taken now will not be valid. What is it? Quorum required throughout the meeting. Quorum required throughout the meeting is 5, but out of 10, 7 directors left. So remaining directors are 3, which is below the quorum. So whatever agendas are passed without presence of the adequate quorum, that shall be invalid. Okay. So simple point is that the quorum is 1/3 of total strength or 2, whichever is higher. Out of total strength, the directors who have vacated their offices or who have resigned from their post shall not be counted in the quorum. They shall not be counted in the total strength, sorry. And the directors who are interested in the quorum, interested in the agenda, shall not be counted in the quorum. Shall not be counted in the quorum. And directors who are attending the meeting through video conferencing mode or through audiovisual mode, they shall be counted in the quorum. And if 2/3 or more directors are interested in the agenda, then 2 disinterested directors shall even constitute a valid quorum. The point is clear. Next is very easy. Procedure where the meeting adjourned for want of quorum. There may be the case that meeting has been convened and at the time of meeting, within half an hour, quorum is not present. Quorum is not present. What to do? Meeting shall get adjourned in the next week, same day, same place, same time. But that point I'm not discussing. I'm discussing that the point is under section 4 is given that there was requirement of convening at least 4 p.m. in a year, and there was the gap can be maximum 120 days in between 2 p.m. Let us suppose last PM was held here, and the next PM was convened after the gap of 170 days. So maximum gap can be 120 days. Maximum gap can be 120 days. Okay. And after the gap of 170 days, the PM was convened. Okay. So there is no violation yet. But the quorum was not present. So the PM got adjourned in the next week, same day, same place, same time. That means 117 plus 7. Okay. So it was held on the 124 days after the first PM. First PM was held here and the second BM was convened here but could not be held due to the want of quorum. Want of quorum means absence of quorum. Quorum is not available. Quorum is not present in the meeting. The meeting got adjourned in the next week, same day, same place, same time. Okay, in that case, so there was a gap of 124 days. It's more than 120 days. But in this case, there is no violation. The reason being that the company exercised due diligence by convening the meeting within 120 days, but it could not be held due to the want of quorum. And it got adjourned in the next week, same day, same place, time, and held there. Okay, held there, then there is no violation. Similarly, the 4 board meetings required to be held in 1 year. Let us suppose company held 1 BM, second BM, and third BM. Okay, and in the last month, in the 12th month, on the 27th day, company convened the meeting. But the quorum was not present, got adjourned. Okay, it went beyond that 12 months of the year. There was a provision of convening at least 4 board meetings in a year. No holding 4 board meetings in a year. But let us suppose at the end of the year, there was only 4 days left and 3 meetings were already held. Just 1 meeting was to be convened. Okay, and the company convened so. But meeting got adjourned due to the lack of quorum. It fell in the next year. Even then, there is no violation because the company has complied with the provision. If it convened the meeting, it could not be held due to the want of quorum. And remaining meetings have been convened properly. The 4th meeting was also convened properly but could not be held. First 3 meetings were convened and held properly. Okay, there was no violation. The last meeting was convened properly within the same year but could not be held due to the want of quorum, then there is no violation. Right? This says that if a BM could not be held for the want of quorum, meeting should, unless article other provide, be adjourned till the next week, same day, same place, same time. If that day is a public holiday, or to the succeeding day, which is not a public holiday. Obviously, very simple. And there is a question asked in December 16 for 5 marks. Meeting of board of directors was scheduled to take place at the factory premises. The company and not at the registered office. At the scheduled date and time, the required quorum was not present. The chairman of the meeting announced that the meeting is dissolved. Comment. The first point is that the meeting can be convened anywhere in the world. This is about board meeting. The unique feature of board meeting. Any meeting could not be adjourned could not be held to the want of quorum. Can be held in the next week, same day, same place, same time. Okay. And if that is a public holiday, that can be held on the next working day. Okay, which is not a public holiday. So decisions of chairman or dissolving is not proper. The next question is, out of 8 directors in Rooftop Limited, 5 are Indian nationals, they are foreign residents, and 1 is a person of Indian origin. The articles of company stipulate that quorum for a BM shall be 5 directors, of which at least 1 director shall be foreign resident. Referring to the provisions of the Companies Act, examine the validity of above provision. Actually, there are total 8 directors. There are 8 directors. And out of 8, the quorum is 1/3 of 8, that is 3, or 2, whichever is higher, that is 3. And the company articles of the company asked for 5 directors. There is no violation. Articles may provide for the higher quorum. Okay. So above mentioned provisions incorporated in articles are valid. Similarly, 1 or 2 questions are also discussed. Okay, you may see this point yourself. There is no difficulty because these are the simple questions. Okay, the remaining part of this chapter I will discuss in the next part. Okay, so small part is left. I will discuss it in the, because when the single part is so long, and sometimes it become difficult for you to watch the video in one go. So I try to make part of small size. So you can download the video. You may watch the video at one go. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget to click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Do like, comment and share. See you next time. Subscribe and hit the bell icon.